Good afternoon, everyone. This is the last CLC tutorial. I'm just wanting to see who is out there. Rehoboth, can you tell me who is present today at the tutorial? Hi, Rehoboth, can you tell me who is at your tutorial today? Which students? Thank you, Rehoboth. I'm recording this tutorial also for anybody who is possibly online. If you are online, I have enabled Q&A. So if you are able to type in the Q&A section, I can answer your questions verbally. So I'd also like to know, just before I start, and just say that if you could write any of your questions in the chat menu on the right-hand side, just so that I can get some idea if you have any queries that I can answer in this tutorial, because it's the last one that we're going to be having. And after that, all queries must be dealt with by messaging on Funda. Okay, so while I wait for those queries to be typed up, we're going to be going on with our PowerPoint of what we're going to be dealing with today. Okay, can you please just write and tell me whether or not you can actually see this PowerPoint, please? Those of you at CLC centers. Okay, thanks very much. I'm pleased you can see it. Let's get started. So what we're going to do today is we're going to be looking at the rewriting of essays, going over the audio presentation again, and also just letting you know about some new submission dates. If you have any extra queries to these, just write them in the chat or use Q&A if you're a viewer at home, and let's take it from there. Sorry about that. We're also going to be using track and trace, and I'm going to be showing you how to use that for your essay writing, and then looking at your questions. Okay, so for the sake of assignment 3, which is the rewrite of assignment 2, the research essay, you have received your assignments back now, and there will have been a commentary made on the side and also at the bottom of the essay, and that will have been put in with track and trace, which is in the MS Word menu. So these comments are going to be about how to improve in terms of your critical thinking and writing skills. For example, argument strengthening, referencing that's required, being more logical, and getting rid of fallacies, which we dealt with in the last 2 tutorial sessions. So now what I want to say to you is, please will you make sure that you use the tracked version. In other words, the version that was returned to you with all the comment, and make sure that tracking is on under the review menu in MS Word. I'm now going to be using another file which shows us how we do this. Just hold on while I find the file. Okay, so here we have an MS Word file, which you should all be able to see. And what's going on here is that the student has written, this is their introductory section, and you can see where I have written comments. All right. Now, in MS Word, if you are now going to be changing what it is that you're going to be writing, this is how I suggest that you do it. Krishna, I'm going to come back to your question just now. I'm first just going to go through this example. All right. When you are doing an assignment, if you're rewriting it, it's not about resubmitting the entire essay. It is about for assignment 3, it's about improving on assignment 2. That is, even if you passed it or failed it. If you got a 0, then you might have to resubmit the whole essay again with improvements. But we'll get to that. Let's just look at what the student did. The student wrote an introduction, and this was their introduction. So they wrote about Jehovah's Witnesses as their contemporary worldview, and they said that they would discuss mythology and traditions, and that they would unpack how the worldview can or cannot function in the world. So my comment to them was that for the rewrite, could they please give an interesting title to the introduction in their essay? Now, how do you fix that using track and trace? Well, we go to review, which is up here in the MS Word, and we go to track changes, and we make sure track changes is on. Now, and in the markup section, you can put it up onto all markup, which is now going to show every time I make a change. Now, this is what you would do. So I am pretending to be the student. The comment has been I must give an interesting title to the introduction. So I'm going to rewrite my introduction title. You can see it is showing that I'm crossing the title out. And I'm going to put a new title, which is called From Door to Door, Being a Witness. Okay, now this, if it's looking like this, then it's been done correctly. In other words, I want to see in the track changes what has been done. So this is how I am suggesting that you do it. So I can see that you have taken up the comment and rewritten as I have instructed you to. Now here I've said to the student, make your arguments stronger. All right? The student has said, I will unpack how this worldview can or cannot function in our world today. Well, track changes is on. So now I'm going to be the student and I'm going to make this a bit stronger. I will argue why this Jehovah's Witness worldview is a contemporary, sorry, spelling errors, contemporary worldview Okay. So now, and then what I'm going to do is, because I can see that what I wrote before wasn't very strong, so now I'm going to show that I'm going to delete that. So now this means that I've rewritten it and I've shown that I've done it. So I'm halfway there. Now here I've said to the student that it's not acceptable to use websites that are not academic, and that they should be using academically refereed sources for their rewrites. Okay. Now here they've used a source that isn't the case. So now they're going to make some changes maybe to their essay, and they're going to say they're going to use a better resource. So they're going to find another source. So they've got one called by Jackson maybe, and that was 2002, and the page number was, in this case, 14. So now I have fixed up my referencing, and now maybe I'm going to use a different reference for my information, and so there I have used an academically refereed source for the rewrite. Lastly, the student has written that Jehovah's Witnesses believe in God as a Christian would, but how they perceive him is different to a Christian. but someone of a Jehovah's Witness believes that everything Christian related is false and close to satanic. Now, I've asked in my comments, really, who says so? Reveal your source. In other words, the student has written what they think. So now they've realized, oh, I can't really write what I think. What I must write is what it says in a book. So they're going to cross out what they've said because track changes is on. Okay, all right. So let's say that they cross that line out, and now they're going to write something else. They're going to write perhaps a Jehovah's Witness doesn't believe in God, but believes in Jehovah, which is what they call Jesus. Okay, and that source is again maybe Jackson, who is a refereed source, 2002, 14, whatever. So let's just give them a comma there and give them a comma here. So you can see that now this is how track and trace works in MS Word, and that's what I want you to do. So in other words, you take your essay, you make sure when you track changes, that track changes is on. Then you go to the markup and you make sure that everything is marked up so that when you type, sorry, it's not on now, I've clicked it off, so that when it is on, so that when I type, the text changes color. Without the spelling mistakes. Okay, can I just get some feedback? Does that help? Are there any questions about track and trace that you would like to ask me? Are there any questions from people at home? I've got the Q&A enabled, so if there's any question, yes, let's have a look. Okay, Krishna, I'm just saying to Krishna in Rehoboth that if your worldview is not a contemporary one, then you must rewrite the essay. I will message you later on, Funda, about that. Okay. Can you just give me some feedback on whether the track and trace was helpful? Because once you have rewritten a new one, then you are going to have to do this exercise as well, because we will be helping you write it to improve it. The viewer at home, if there is anybody at home on the view, is there anybody who's got a question that I can answer on that, on this track and trace score? No, okay, no more queries about this. Okay, so let's get back to the PowerPoint. Okay, so I've dealt with now the rewriting, oh, sorry about the rewriting of assignment 2. I've shown you how to use the track and trace version to make your changes and to make sure tracking is on. So that is everything you really need to know about how to use the track and trace and about what sort of changes it is that you're required to do for that essay. Next is assignment 4, which is the oral presentation, which is due on the 28th of May. If anybody has any questions about this, please will you write in the chat or post them on Q&A if you're at home. For this, you need to do a 5-minute audio presentation, which you can post to YouTube. You can do this in Google Hangout, which is very similar to what we're doing here. But let me have the link in an MS Word document and upload that onto the Funda assignment. I think in your case, it's actually assignment 3. So it's your assignment 3. Apologies for that. Assignment 3. So the content is on the research essay in assignment 2, in which you defend the fact that the contemporary worldview in that essay as a worldview. So there is an essay and grading guide on Funda for this, and notes on how to do a presentation are also available there. Okay, so we've used how to track and trace. I've shown you in the MS Word document how to review or use it in text or how to highlight. The last thing that I need to tell you in this tutorial is that if you haven't submitted any essays yet at all, the principal, Dr. Wayne Herman, has sent out a message to all CLC students saying that if you got a 0, or if you haven't submitted any essays yet, or you've submitted too late and wish to resubmit them, you've got until 30th of May to do so. I've reopened the Funda submission dates, so you will be able to do this if you are in this position. Okay, so that's quite a lot of information, but I just want to hear from you. Does anybody at home or at Rehoboth have any questions? Krishna, do you have any questions? Okay, thanks very much for that, Krishna. Okay, I don't really have much more to teach on this course at the moment. That's mainly really just the assignments now. So I'm going to hang on and see if there are any more questions, and then I'll be closing the tutorial in a few more minutes after this. Are there any questions from the viewer who's viewing at home? Okay, I'm going to be closing this tutorial then because we've covered basically the track and trace, and there are no students with any questions or anything else that I need to consider. So thank you very much for coming to the tutorial, Krishna, and for the viewer at home, thank you for attending. That's basically it. If you'd like to ask any more questions, I am going to be here for a little while, so I won't close the tutorial yet. Okay, thank you. Hi, Life Church at Amanzimtoti. Are there any students present there? Can you see me? Okay, great. Can you tell me which students are there today? What are your students' names who are there today, please? Hi, Lester. Okay, I'm going to be doing the work on track and trace. I hope that that's going to be helpful. Will that be helpful to you? Okay. All right, let's get started with that then. I'm just going to change the screen share. Okay, so what we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking at the rewriting essay and submission dates issue, how to use track and trace, and dealing with any questions that you may have about the coming tasks. So for assignment 3, which is the rewrite of assignment 2, the research essay, your essay will be returned with tracked commentary as to where to improve in terms of critical thinking and writing skills. So, for example, argument strengthening, referencing required, logicality, and getting rid of fallacies. So please use the tracked version to make your changes and make sure that tracking is on under the review menu in MS Word. Let's see how we can do that. I'm just going to find the MS Word file. One moment. We're just busy changing the file so that we can teach you this section. We apologize for the delay. We're just trying to get this file out for you. Nearly there. Okay, so now what we've got here is a sample essay that's been returned to a student. The student wrote on Jehovah's Witnesses, and this was the opening part of their assignment. Now, in their assignment, I made commentary. You can see here they come up as little balloons, or they come up like this. So they look like this, and they refer to this. Now, what you are being asked to do, if you passed this assignment or failed it or been asked to rewrite it and so on for assignment 3, then what you need to do is to use this version. What I mean by this version, it's this version of the essay that you need to be able to open, not the one that you submitted, but the one that I returned to you on Funda. So what you need to do is you need to go to review. Let's say we were here, now we go to review, the review menu in MS Word. You click on track changes and you make sure that track changes has been enabled. It's usually in a little color so you can see that it's on. In terms of the markup, We want the whole thing to be marked up. Markup just shows you all the comments that have been made. What also happens is that when I type, then I can see the changes. So in other words, I want you to submit an essay where I can see the changes that you've made to this. Now, to try and give you some essay writing skills, I'm just going to show you how, pretend that I'm the student, and now we're going to rewrite this part of the essay. So here we go. For example, I have said to the student as the grader, for your rewrite, give an interesting title to your introduction to the essay. At the moment, this is looking a bit boring. So now I'm the student, so I'm going to delete this, but with track changes on, it shows what I have deleted and that I have taken the comment of the person grading my essay quite seriously. So now I'm going to call it Door to Door, Becoming a Jehovah's Witness. There we go. So we can see what's been crossed out, namely that, and we can see what's now been written to make it more exciting, which means I have dealt with this comment. You see, it didn't take me long, and I didn't have to suffer. Okay, now here the grader has said, you must try and make your argument stronger in this sentence here. Now I look at it as the student and I see, okay, I'm going to make my argument stronger, and so therefore I'm going to cross out all of this. And instead of saying unpack, I'm going to say, I will argue why the Jehovah's Witnesses are a contemporary worldview. Okay. So here I have answered this question here. I've made the argument a lot stronger. Okay. Now the next question is that it's not acceptable to use websites that are not academic, and that I must use an academically refereed source for the rewrite. So that's the comment from the grader. So now I go and I have found a better source. So now I'm going to show that I've crossed that out. And now instead of that, I'm going to use somebody called Jackson, who wrote in 2004, and it's page 14. So I am showing to the grader that I have now fixed this up and found a better source for this information that I got here in this paragraph. So I have answered them and done what they have required of me. Now here in this, the grader has, the student has said, Jehovah's Witnesses believe in a God and as a Christian would, but how they perceive him is different to that of a Christian. But someone of a Jehovah's Witness believes that everything Christian related is false and close to satanic. Now, the comment from me, the grader, is, well, really? Who says so? Please reveal your source. So now me as a student is thinking, well, actually, maybe that was a bit ridiculous of me. So let me say what I really wanted to say, which is that Jesus is actually Jehovah, the God they worship. Okay, and again, my source for this is Jackson. On a different page now. So I've shown what I have cut out using track and trace, and then I have put in text, and I can show this way. I can show the grader what it is that I have done here. Okay, Lester, can you tell me, is that clear to you? And the person at home, if the viewer at home, if you would like to interact on this, please feel free. If you've got any questions, Lester, or anybody else about this track and trace method that we're asking you to do, can you please let me know? Okay, Lester, I take it you don't have any questions, so I'm going to move on from that. So that is what track and trace is all about. So now let's just go back to our presentation. So for assignment 3, that is what is being requested of you when we say, please use the tracked version to make your changes and make sure that tracking is on under the review menu in MS Word. Okay. Right, so moving on to the next assignment, which is assignment 4, which is the oral presentation, which is due on the 28th of May. That's next week. You need to do a 5-minute audio presentation, which you can post to YouTube, and let us have the link in an MS Word document and upload this onto Funda. The content is on the research essay, in which you defend the fact of the contemporary worldview in that essay as a worldview. So there is an essay and grading guide on Funda for this assignment, and also notes on how to do a good presentation, how to do this on Google Hangout, and how to save it up to YouTube so that that is available to you. Have you got any questions, either the viewer at home or Lester or Live Church Manzim Toti? Any queries about this assignment that I can help you with? Okay, so there are no more questions about this assignment, these 2 assignments then. If anybody watching this has questions, please can you message me on Funda? Thank you. So let's go on. We've done track and trace. Our principal, Dr. Wayne Herman, has sent out a letter stating that if you haven't submitted any essays and you're a student on the CLC side of Cornerstone, and you perhaps got naught, or you didn't submit, or you submitted too late, and you wish to submit your essays, you have until the 30th of May to do so. Can you, if you've got any queries about that, please feel free to contact me about it. Okay, any questions, anything else? Is there anything else I can answer? Okay, I'm going to be closing off the tutorial. Thanks very much for coming, Lester, and also to Krishna. And I hope that you have a good time doing the audio presentations and also finishing the last essay off. If you have any questions, anybody at home, please feel free to message me on Funda. Okay, thank you so much and goodbye.